What's up, everybody? Back with another installment. I'm going to be doing a series on this Dinobot piece I'm working on. Um, a series on each bot, on the coloring process. This video is sped up 1500%. So it's a little shy of 15 minutes. And it took me a little over 4 hours to do this guy, to try to give it a little bit of perspective. This is Slag of the Dinobots. You know, and these aren't going to be as talky as the other ones because I don't want to be too redundant. But if I see something where I feel like I need to chime in with something, I'll make it known. The light source on this one is going to be straight down on the characters, like they were in like a photo booth, or like having a professional portrait done kind of thing. My idea for this came from a conversation with a guy he's involved professionally in the Transformer world, and he was telling me how his view of the Dinobots were like a special ops team, and that one would be like a tunnel rat type, one would be a sniper, and one would be like the heavy weapons guy. So I made Slag more so the sneaky tunnel rat that get in and get out, swoop like a sniper type, and Sludge like the heavy weapons, bigger type of character, and then Grimlock like the badass leader. And that was my goal. Whether or not it was successful or not, time will tell. And so far, the feedback from everybody seems to be really, really positive. I'm very, very appreciative. Thinking about even putting up pre-order stuff for it, because it just seems to have garnered a fair amount of excitement from everybody, and that's awesome. As long as I continue to get better at doing Transformers and people continue to be interested in what I do with them, I'll continue to do them. I have a good time doing them. I'm actually doing a design for one for King Sting YouTube. One of my commissions coming up, and the character that he's created, his pseudonym is based off of. It's a good time. Hopefully that'll be up soon. These grays here, you'll see on the wings anyway, that form like the rib cage of the Triceratops. Like I missed a spot on the other wing, and I just cut out a piece of the overflow and dragged it over, as opposed to having to change the color on my brush. Because when I get my highlight brush and my shadow brush picked, I'm usually committed and like to keep it as, see it right there. I'm going to be ready to try to cover up that part I didn't do. Worked great. Little simple tricks. I say that all the time. Especially when people compliment my work, which makes me feel extremely uncomfortable. But I'm appreciative of it. It gives me drive, keeps me going, and it's awesome. But better that than you suck. I tell people it's simple tricks and nonsense, a bunch of smoke and mirrors, because it's just little techniques, tricks of the trade, for lack of a better term. The more you do, the more you learn. As long as you know what you want, it's a pretty intuitive program that helps you get it done. From time to time, you might see me go back and reference these pictures that I keep, and they're just to keep track of where the colors are on these guys, like what part's gray, what's part's red. Whenever I'm drawing Transformers, I always use like a couple references. I always reference a Pat Lee piece. People can say what they want about the guy, but he knows how to draw Transformers. Don Figueroa and people like that to try to, nail down a really cool representation that I can put my own spin on. I like to apply things from different facets, like I always try to give like the glowing lights inside of them, like from the Fall of Cybertron, War for Cybertron games, just because I think that's cool. So I always incorporate that as a little tip of the hat to that, and there's tips of the hat to the toy, there's tips of the hat to the comics, and different artists that have participated in the comics. There's tips of the hat to them. Just paying homage. These are my characters. I didn't create them. I'm just grateful for the opportunity to mess around with them. A lot of times, they see this stuff I do on different planes, and I just end up shooting myself in the foot a little bit. I'm not sure how much it adds to it, and it takes up a lot more time. I don't know. Whenever I do like one color, like you can see I've been working on these grays for a while. Like, I literally start to get nauseous. Things are too much the same color. Like, I get bored. So sometimes I try to switch it up. I love the grays with the bluish tints in them. It just seems more metal and robotic. Or purple tones. This was pretty painstaking. It's all these different planes on this light gray here, crest of the Triceratops. I remember when I was drawing it, I was thinking about how much of a pain it was going to be when I colored it. It's funny, I'm making a lot of decisions now during the drawing and the pencil and ink process. Thinking down the line about the coloring process. Like, do you really want to do this? You're going to color this separate. Just interesting evolution. Shadow there just gives a little bit of the illusion of depth for it's underneath that Triceratops upper jaw head piece. Anyway, any questions or comments, feel free to leave it in the comments box, and I will definitely answer to the best of my ability. I'm not a genius at this stuff by any stretch of imagination, but I know enough to get the job done. Technically, I think on this one I show a little bit of the effects that I do at the end, which is pretty cool because it's something I haven't got to show a whole lot on the YouTube bits yet. But Photoshop is a layer-based program, so you work with different layers, and I always keep my blacks on a separate layer, and then the colors go underneath it, and then I separate each layer of the bot. I think Slag ended up being like 12 layers, and then merge them at the end when I'm happy with them all and have edited them all, to my liking. But the effects layer I do over top of the blacks, and that's what really gives the illusion of light and stuff like that. Because when the eye sees that light lighting up the black lines, it just for whatever reason, it gives that illusion. There's those references I was talking about. It gives that illusion of real light. I'll show a little bit about that later. But all those little knuckle bits. It's funny, I hate doing those little circles and stuff on the knuckles, and where the finger, each little knuckle and segment of the finger joints separate, but when you highlight them all and shade them all, they really do look sharp, especially in the other hand. Usually I do colorful wiring, but with this one I decided to calm it down a little bit. I wonder if I'll like it better or worse when it's all said and done. I throw a little color in there, but not like usual. I think I end up replacing some of this gray with blue later on. Like that. That looks really sharp to me. That turned out nice. I chose not to do the gun red. I think the gun is red in this G1 toy stuff, but against the red hand I thought it'd be too much, so I went with a more silver look just to contrast. See, it's this stage in the coloring that I get really excited because it starts to take shape and I want to see what it was going to look like done. Sometimes I'm in too much of a rush. That's my chair squeaking, if you hear that. It's WD-40. My life. I think T2 Arcs is going to bring me some. Fix this chair problem. Little does he know I just do it to annoy him. But whatever. This is, I'm not sure if I end up filling in that little circle there on his arm. Situations where there's just so many different planes. All meant to be highlighted and shadowed independently. Time. Next time. Snarl next. Let's see. So far, so good. Face. I have a theory on faces that if you nail the face, people will forgive the rest. I'm not sure if I did it on this one, but I just do no lack of effort. Like I really put in a lot of time on my faces through every step of the process. See, I put a little wiring. For the most part, I kept the wiring pretty gray. Let's see. Couple little accents, That's it. Backlighting. Yeah, I fixed that part. That was the blue part I was talking about. Just adds a little flare. Here's the effects. So yeah. Go back and erase the middle. It works like a champ, It's just another little simple trick. Same do it with the red lights here. Really works nicely. Here I'm making adjustments to each layer just to play with the contrast, the brightness, darkness, so I get it where I want it. Which is just kind of a, it's like a feeling it out. And that's it. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time.